Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It's March 4th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And we had a big sell-off today. We took back a little of it by the end of the day. You can see here. Um, we're still hovering around that 2,800. We were above it early on. We sold off, dropped down. Actually, we dropped all the way down to about 2767 in there, somewhere like that, and then we bounced back up, and we're maybe 7 or 8 points below 2,800 now. So, um, interesting day. This was just a really strong sell-off. Um, Once it got going, there were a couple of nice entries up here, but once we got going, there was a lot of area in there where there just wasn't really a good entry. And so I've talked about it before. It's hard to watch this thing go without you, but you don't want to be entering in the wrong spot because when you do, the next thing you know, you're regretting it and it's backing up on you and stopping you out. But that would have been a measured move down, but we just continued to go after that. Once this thing continued to go, we had a break here, and you might think you get two legs down or maybe even another measured leg down after that break, but it just continued on. And what really probably is going on here is that this is probably two-tiered. This probably is out here. And if you draw a copy, you can find that midline and you can see that. And then that makes sense on these other turn downs down here that are kind of in the middle of nowhere. And that's really what we're probably looking at here. Doesn't matter how you played. It still doesn't give you a lot of entries here, other than it just doesn't really change a whole lot in the big scheme of things. The only thing it would change was you don't have a break until here, and then you move to a new low in reverse. So once we kept going here and just kept going and going and going after this break here past a measured leg, that's what I would have looked for, is this two tiers. Chains, I usually like to make those a little lighter just to distinguish between them. It's kind of hard to see there, but you'll see it when we back out here. But this is a very strong trend down. It just keeps going and going. And sure enough, generally when you get an overshoot, it's not long before you get a break. And then you got one leg down. And then once we started lower here, I'd look for a measured move. We don't quite get that. We get close, and then it reverses, and it trades up the rest of the day for the most part. And this actually flattens out, but it doesn't really make a whole, doesn't change things a whole lot right across there. But you'd want to flatten out. This one's a little bit steep. And you can see that channel right there that flattens out. But anyway, let's back out. We'll talk about the trades. As big a sell-off as this is, there's still not a whole lot of, there's not a ton of trades here. But if you caught one or two of these, there's a couple of these you might have caught a runner, and you didn't need but a trade or two if you catch the right one, especially if you caught this one. And there was another one in here, probably this one, maybe even that one. This early one here probably would have given you a runner as well. A couple of these would, and a couple of them wouldn't. So that's the thing about runners. They're you don't always catch one, and then it kind of discourages you from wanting to take them, and then the next one, of course, always works. So if you try to pick and choose, it's kind of hard to pick them. But when it's trending like this, just try to catch a runner on all of them, and you'll catch your share of them. So early on, it looked like a range, and you had to respect this until this is when I would have considered going short. However, it looked like we had a trend channel working down here, and you can see prices making lower highs every single time. So when you see that, there's a good chance that prices are going to break lower eventually. And when we did, it comes back, it acts as resistance here where it was acting as support, and then off it goes. And that was a pretty good setup right there. There's actually you might could look at this as a failed second entry long here. Only thing about it is you're right into this lower line, and you see it starting to find support there pretty quickly. So there's not a whole lot of room there. There actually would have been enough to get out of there. So that one's a possibility. We'll mark it green. But being that far away from the EMA, I was a little leery of it, especially going right into the trend channel line. I mean, you don't know that we're going to take off like this. In this case, it does, but you know, generally you would expect prices to bounce here, even if we're going lower. So this was kind of out of the ordinary to continue on, but for whatever reason, this thing just sold off like a rocket here. Turned out to be a pretty nice sell-off. But let's back out. We'll talk about the trades, and we'll wrap it up for today. This came right in here at the 7 o'clock hour. Notice you got a new low. You move down, and this is your overnight low, and then you get a first entry. You push through, you pull back, you get a second entry. It fails. If it breaks higher here, you're probably going to get at least a scalp. And I draw my trend line there. And then, of course, it pulls back again and tests it again. It's just a first entry, but you would figure we're headed to here or maybe here now. This might be worth considering. I think it's a little aggressive. There's no way you're going to get a second entry. People always ask me that. You know, there's no way. You see how tight that is. You don't have room to get a second entry in there. And so when you get these tight trends, and this was similar right here. This is a pretty tight trend, and you're not going to get a lot of second entries in there. So once you know it's a strong trend, especially like this one here, and I would always look for that 2 tiers too, like we did. Once it went past a measured leg from here, because that's generally, that 2 legs is generally going to be the center of the pattern. And when that doesn't turn out to even be close to the center of the pattern, then you want to consider something else going on there. And that's when I would look for 2 tiers maybe. So anyway, you got a couple of quick longs here. And of course, we turned down right here. There's been no break of this, so I'm a little leery about getting long, short here. You don't really get a long setup. It finally gets a break, a new low, and that bar is too bearish. There is a decent higher low right here, but you're really kind of going sideways. You don't have a whole lot of room. I just sit tight probably, and it just kind of continues to work sideways, and it makes that failed second entry long right there, and turns and comes down here and leaves you a fairly bearish bar. I like going short there, and I just look for a measured move at a very minimum there. I'd measure this one, and probably look, you could measure from here. That puts it down to here. Or you could say, hey, that's the correction if we keep going. But I'd also measure this leg and look for a possible measured move here. And so that puts prices at least down to here. And that probably gives you enough room to get out there. So I like that one. Just the fact that it's a trap, you're probably going to get a scalp out of it. And notice it moves down pretty strongly, then it comes back. And I would draw this trend line just in case. And of course, we turn down right off of it. You get a lower high here, but I don't have it on here, but there's a little trend line working up through here. And so you can see how it gaps right there too. And that tells you probably got your trend line in the right place. And you probably couldn't have got in that, but it does come back and gives you a failed second entry long, and then I'd be looking for this measured move. I'd measure that, put it over here and look for a measured move. And so you got a lot of room there for another leg down. And we actually go a little further, it bounces at the overnight low. And of course, it's still just working down this trend line. So that's telling you that, hey, every time we try to go higher, it gets a little weaker, and every time we go lower, it gets a little stronger. So there's a good chance we're coming down to here eventually if we get through here. And notice we're working up. We get a little close outside. You really close outside here, but here's another one. Then it makes a new high, and then it turns down with that big bearish bar. The fact that it's off that key entry point, and you've been up here, now you've tested it a couple of times, big bearish bar, I'd probably take that trade. It would have been nice if this broke higher and then turned down. I'd tell you probably go short there, but that bar's so big, I just don't know if you want to go short right there into that midline. But notice how it pushes through. It actually comes back, makes a little 2-leg back and gives you another, but now it's short right into that low, that strong support, and you got to respect that one for sure because it's held every single time. And when it pushes through and pulls back and gives you that, it goes higher and turns, it goes out the other side, I'd go short right one tick below that bar right there. That gives you plenty of room. And of course it comes back again and you still got a little bit of room there. There's been no break of this trend line really. So you may go short right there too. You're not expecting it to go through here, but you're expecting it to come down and probably get a scalp. This one's a little aggressive because you just don't have a lot of room left. And if it does bounce here, you notice it's bouncing there, it's trying, but this trend line's still holding here and it turns right back down. I don't really see a setup I like. I'm not going to go short into that. But notice what happens here. You get a first entry, second entry, a small bar, bearish. That's a nice second entry short. I like that one. You got plenty of room to get out. And if you catch this one trade, you can ride this thing, and it just rides all the way down. And of course, you probably wouldn't have two tiers yet. You would think this was the break, and so when it turns down again here, another kind of second entry short here. You don't have a lot of room to the lows. It's not, we've already had what looks like a break and a new low, and so it's getting a little iffy in here until you figure out that, hey, maybe there's two tiers. But when it goes past that measured move, like I said, I would measure this leg, drag this over to right here. And once it goes past here and keeps going, then I would consider something else going on there, because it should bounce in there somewhere. Even if it goes a little further, it should bounce, but this thing just keeps on dropping. And then we do get an overshoot. You get a little bit of one here. You get another one right here. This one is for sure. And then we just kind of go sideways, and you do get your break here. And you could treat this like a failed breakout here. You also got a little trend line with a break and a new high, but I'd wait on a lower high here. It comes right here. That's not a real good signal bar, but that one's pretty bearish for inside. And this has been a pretty strong trend. Normally, I'm inside bars are iffy. You got to be when I say that, they're not reliable, in other words. And so people will ask me, what do I mean by iffy? Well, they're not real reliable. So you'd rather the signal bar be the big bearish bar. But with that being a second entry short right there, notice you got a low, you're moving up first entry. You actually get a first entry right there. It's just one tick. So that's really your first move, and then you get a lower high. And so that's as good as a second entry. Plus it's a little failed breakout here. The overall trend is down. If you caught that this may be two-tiered by now, which you should be looking at by this point, the prices are going to make another low, and it might even make two legs down. And so you're just looking for another place to get in. Notice how we shoot through here. I don't have it drawn across there, but there it is. And you shoot through, pull back and test it, and that's a failed second entry long, a breakout pullback short. It's a little close to these lows. I think there's just enough room to get out. It's real close, so I made it green. But if there was plenty of room before these lows over here, I'd say take this regardless. But because we're probably going to make a new low, and we may make another leg down because this has been just too strong. I mean, this is a strong trend down. Prices are going to test the lows again, guaranteed. And off it goes. There's another second entry here. But now you've had a break, and you do kind of have two legs down there, but you may get a little correction and try to go lower again. And so there is a failed second entry long right there, but by that time you bounced once, twice, three times, and you just would have got stuck in there. So it's just you're better off to wait on a little better correction and see what's going to happen. It looks like maybe we're just going to correct, and you get a close outside, you move to a new high, and you get a lower high with a big bearish bar. I'm probably going to take that every time. And originally I had this drawn for the shorter term. That's just my little arrow down right there. We'll just use it. There's really a kind of a trend line right through there like so. And you get a break and a move to a new low on this too. So there is a failed second entry long here. I'm not going to take that going into that low right there. It does try to go higher again, and then you're just kind of going sideways. So even though it works lower, it's one of those if you didn't get in here, I just wouldn't mess with it yet. But notice what happens. You get your first break, Try to go higher once, try to go higher twice, and you get a nice bearish bar, and now you got enough room to get out. So you may go short right there. Again, it's, we're way past the correction here, so it's still a little iffy, but it is a failed second entry long, and it is a nice bearish setup bar, which you don't care as much about the signal bar if it's a trap, but I doubt you're going to trap a lot of people there, and you can tell it doesn't really act like a big trap. It actually had to trade back higher to fill the little gap and then go down, so you may not even got in that unless it backed up, and then I don't know if I would have waited on it either. So but yeah, once you've had a break for sure, and a couple of legs down, every new swing that heads lower, starting, especially when notice how the EMA, notice how steep that EMA is there. There's no doubt we're in a downtrend. Then it gets above it once, and usually it'll break above it once, and that's not enough to reverse it. Then it breaks above it again, a little more convincing, and then again, and then finally it reverses. And you can see how things are getting flatter and flatter and flatter. And I didn't draw it here, but you probably can find a nice little flat channel, and you can see that trend line. You can't really get it to fit real well on this side, maybe right there, but you can see how it's still holding here, but it's making higher lows each time almost, and it's getting a little flatter. You can see how flat the EMA is getting. Every swing higher that you try to take lower now is starting to get more dangerous. And then suddenly we're going the other way, and you come back here. Notice that low right there. You're moving up. First entry, second entry. The thing is, it doesn't break higher until it's actually broken lower again right here. You make a little higher low, and it goes lower and then turns and goes up. So you might go long when it breaks higher. I'd probably wait on that bar to finish and then go long. And then notice it makes a swing low lower than that one. And so you're moving up first entry, second entry. There's your little bit of a trap. And you can see how once that thing reverses, it kind of shoots up a little quicker. You probably trap some shorts here, and some people got to exit. It does come back again, 2 legs back. That bar is too neutral. Working higher. And you get a first entry, pull back, second entry. Fairly decent bar, and it's right off that trend line again. A little bit of sideways there, but it's trying to make a break here, and it's an obvious trend line. That's the first break, and you get just enough to get out before it backs up again. So that would have been real tight, but that's why we go for 4 ticks, because if you count it up, it might have even got an extra tick, but it wasn't much extra. So you probably want to make sure you got enough to get out before this final high. And if you don't, you may reconsider that one. So depends on what your chart's like. But that's what I saw today. Pretty nice sell-off. And again, you could have caught some nice runners here on a couple of these trades. There weren't a lot of runners off these, because earlier it was more. I mean, you can really trade this both ways, although there's not really a lot of opportunity to trade this both ways. And once it starts heading down like this, you're only going short. That's all we're looking for, until you get a reversal type pattern and we know it's going in the other direction. And that doesn't happen till way up here. And that takes you in the 2 o'clock hour. So, fairly decent day. Nice sell-off here, even though there's not a ton of entries. But you don't need a ton of entries. And, that's... if you start forcing entries in there, but you can see though, if you stayed with the trend, any correction just about, if you'd have sold down through here, you'd have been okay, because it's consistently making lower highs all the way. And once it makes a higher high right here, and then we don't make another higher high again until right here when it goes higher. And then we don't make another one until right here after it breaks above that, and then still we're making lower highs and lower lows all the way down here. We actually make a higher high there than those two. So once that starts to happen a few times, then you got to start to thinking, hey, this is playing out. We're running out of room, most likely. But notice right down through here, you just don't make any higher highs except for these 2-legged moves. right here and right here, and the rest of the time you're making lower highs. You may not have made a lower low every time, but you make a lower high almost every single time. So you could go short anywhere in there and be okay. And that's why I'm telling you, if you start trying to pick bottoms here and you think we're played out, but it just kind of keeps pushing lower and lower. Even once you're looking for a reversal here, it keeps pushing lower and lower. And that's why we stay with a trend on these kind of days. And even though there's not great setups in here, even if you made a mistake and thought you saw a great setup, you still would have probably made money by just staying with a trend. It makes it so much easier. A trend like that, don't be trying to buy anything. Don't be picking no bottoms. Wait till you get a true reversal like over in here. So anyway, that's going to do it for Monday. I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.